The Premier on tariff talks that favor Saskatchewan, what Scott Moe says of his recent trip to China. Coyotes killed by snowmobilers, what officials are asking the public to help with. And funding tourism in the city, why Saskatoon is reworking its deal with Discover Saskatoon.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. We begin tonight with the Premier's recent trip to China to talk tariffs. He is now back on Saskatchewan soil and took some time to talk about what the agreements made mean for our province. CTV's Stacey Hine with the details.
Just hours after returning from China, Premier Scott Moe joined agriculture leaders to mark a new Canada-China tariff deal.
Very, very significant to our Saskatchewan farmers, to all of our exporters, to the processing industry here in the province. But it's also important to the Canadian agriculture industry, and I would say equally important to the Canadian economy.
Under the deal, China will cut its canola seed tariffs from 75% to 15%. Tariffs on canola meal, peas, and seafood will also be dropped. In return, Canada will allow up to 49,000 Chinese electric vehicles into the country each year at a 6.1% tariff, down from 100%. Despite a long history of clashes with former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Moe was quick to credit the federal government for landing the deal.
Credit to the federal government. You haven't heard me saying that a lot in the last decade, but I will say it here today.
The Canola Council of Canada says the trade dispute led to volatile prices, noting many farmers still have last year's crop in the bin. It says the agreement couldn't have come at a better time.
With the 2026 growing season just months away, producers need predictable, rules-based access to global markets.
Pea growers are also welcoming the agreement.
The elimination of the 100% tariffs on Canadian peas was very positive news for pea growers here in Saskatchewan and across Canada.
Premier Moe notes canola oil, which remains subject to a 100% tariff, was left out of the deal, saying the focus was on canola meal.
And meal was the important piece for us to get in order to have that domestic crush capacity so that we can actually start to move some of the product that we have here in Canada.
Moe says while the deal is a positive step, more work remains.
From an agricultural perspective, this gets us back to where we were a year ago. No more, no less, really.
The changes under the Canada-China agreement are expected to take effect by March 1st. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The provincial government is moving toward removing red tape for drivers in the oil and gas sector. As Sierra D'Souza Butts explains, the plan is to bring Saskatchewan's regulations more in line with Alberta.
Oil and gas service drivers now have easier access when traveling between provincial borders.
This is about reducing red tape. It's about harmonizing with the province of Alberta.
The government of Saskatchewan is signing a memorandum of agreement with the Canadian Association of Energy Contractors, officially amending the driver licensing and suspension regulations in Saskatchewan, along with removing administrative barriers for drivers of service rigs.
There truly is no border that exists between Alberta and Saskatchewan from a commerce perspective in oil and gas. So we want to make sure that our crews can move back and forth between Alberta and Saskatchewan as efficiently and seamlessly as possible, and that's what this agreement does.
Prior to the agreement, drivers for the Canadian Association of Energy Contractors were required to submit periodic medical fitness reports to SGI and obtain the endorsement requirements. Now, with what the province refers to as administrative burdens being removed, service rig drivers will be able to move back and forth between Alberta and Saskatchewan more conveniently. The provincial government says the change will allow Saskatchewan's energy sector to be more efficient and competitive.
Having that cross-border harmonization as far as the rules in this industry is really important because it is one oil field, and individual companies are operating between the two jurisdictions. So having a consistent set of rules means that we are going to be able to have that efficiency.
By the end of the year, Manitoba is expected to sign a similar agreement with the long-term goal of having drivers work under one set of transportation rules across Western Canada. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Weyburn.
Conservation officers are asking for the public's help after a gruesome discovery last weekend. And a warning, this story contains images that some viewers might find disturbing. Hallie Mandrick with the details.
A $2,000 reward is being offered for information leading to an arrest after a group of coyotes were killed by snowmobilers. According to Sask Tip, 4 coyotes were discovered roughly 11 kilometers east of Lanigan last Sunday. The animals were deliberately pursued and struck by snowmobiles. 2 were found dead and the other 2 were left severely injured, which led to the animals being humanely euthanized on site. One expert says that while coyotes can be a nuisance for farmers this time of year, this incident was far from population control.
When individuals are perpetrating this kind of violence and cruelty towards wildlife, it has nothing to do with protection of livestock or wildlife management or, availability to essentially hunt the species. These are individuals that believe they're above the law.
Evidence collected at the scene indicates that all 4 of the coyotes were run over by the same group of snowmobilers. In a statement to CTV News, the Ministry of Community Safety said, quote, "We are deeply concerned by the recent incident reported in the Humboldt-Lanigan area involving coyotes that were struck and killed by snowmobilers. Intentionally harming wildlife is not only illegal, but it also undermines the values of respect and responsibility that most outdoor users uphold. An investigation is currently underway to determine what occurred." Now, investigators are hoping the public can assist in finding the perpetrators.
There are very few conservation officers in the field compared to other police agencies, so we do rely heavily on the public, rural landowners, anyone else driving in rural areas that happen to see or come across something to report it to the tip line, and then officers will follow up to investigate.
Anyone with information is asked to contact the Provincial Turn-In Poachers and Polluters, also known as TIP line, at 1-800-667-7561. Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Last year's wildfires and some significant storms in Saskatchewan proved to be costly. A new report from the Insurance Bureau of Canada shows losses from wildfires in the Flin Flon and La Ronge areas cost about $300 million. It notes Denair Beach experienced some of the most significant damage from this group of fires, with hundreds of homes, structures, and vehicles destroyed. It says the Pissu fire that impacted the communities of La Ronge, Hall Lake, and Air Ronge, as well as several other smaller communities in early June, caused over $50 million in insured damage. The report shows another $235 million in insured damage was done during a series of severe storms across the prairies in August. In Saskatchewan, Radisson, Langham, and North Battleford were hardest hit by those storms. The Insurance Bureau of Canada says in total, Canada's weather-related insured losses totaled more than $2.4 billion last year. As we know, Mother Nature can be expensive.
Yes, and we're just talking about the dollars and cents there for the physical problems and the impact, and goodness knows the emotional impact that these storms and fires and all these things have had on people is immeasurable. So yes, very expensive indeed, Chantal. I don't think it's going to be expensive, but it will certainly be impactful. It's the polar vortex. It is impacting Canadians from basically the Rocky Mountains all the way out to the Atlantic Ocean, and so it's not just a Saskatchewan situation. We have snow and blowing snow. We have wind warnings in effect right now. So it's a cold and nasty situation, and the cold is going to be sticking around for a while. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Tourism in Saskatoon could go through some changes as Discover Saskatoon looks for more money from the city. As Keenan Sorokon reports, the city is looking for additional savings in the years ahead.
A city committee has tossed aside a request from Discover Saskatoon, formerly Tourism Saskatoon, to nearly double its city funding for the year.
Discover Saskatoon is the only organization doing this work, and where venues and the city directly benefit from it. No other organization is doing the work that we are doing.
Discover Saskatoon was looking for a 95% increase from the city to remain competitive, with high-profile events becoming more costly every year. Councillors instead voted to increase spending by 3% each year until 2029, add more money to a major special events reserve, and add a bonus if certain performance targets are met.
It's measured, it makes sense, it's supporting the visitor economy and making sure that we don't get left out of important opportunities going forward.
Another goal of administration is to look at partnering or even amalgamating Discover Saskatoon with SREDA, the Saskatoon Regional Economic Development Authority, to find more efficiencies for tax dollars.
If you're looking for efficiencies, And not to completely diminish it, but really you're talking about a cheaper photocopier lease.
Pocha says while the two organizations work together, they're not the same.
My team and I sell the attractions, the hotels, all of the experiences. They're selling a property tax environment, land acquisition, industry opportunities, but both work hand in hand.
With its funding ask taking a major hit, Discover Saskatoon is hoping the city won't lose its ability to host major tourist attractions.
If our capacity is reduced, this work does not move somewhere else.
City Council will give a final say on the funding arrangement at its council meeting later this month. Keenan Sorakan, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Meanwhile, the city is working toward combining Sask Centre and TCU Place into one organization. City staff met with both corporations over the summer and fall and found amalgamation would streamline operations, reduce duplication, and strengthen Saskatoon's ability to compete for major events. The city says there is limited downside and the merger could be done by early next year. Aside from the benefits of consolidating operations, the city plans to have its convention center and theater across the street from its arena with the goal of working with a single operator.
The facilities at some point in time will be right across the street from each other. We'd always envisioned a single operator, whether it was a private partner or any other model. The opportunity to work together to compete on shows and kind of work both of those facilities on the bid was always seen to be an advantage.
The city estimates amalgamating TCU Place and Sask Centre into one organization will eventually save $470,000 per year. One person was taken to hospital following a house fire in the Confederation Park neighborhood. Firefighters were called to the 600 block of Welland Lane just before 9 o'clock last night. They arrived to find heavy smoke coming from the home. Crews went into the basement to extinguish the fire. The condition of the person sent to hospital and the extent of their injuries is not known. An investigator will now work to identify the cause of the fire and determine a damage estimate. An elected official with Metis Nation Saskatchewan who admitted to leaving vulgar and threatening voicemails has had his position and duties suspended. Earlier this year, Brent Dignes left messages for a handful of members of Metis Nation Saskatchewan who were also family members. The voicemails contained inappropriate language and threats, warning the members not to attend MNS meetings. Today, Metis Nation Saskatchewan said although Dignes acknowledges his actions, it says his duties as the Eastern Region 2 representative will be suspended for an indeterminate period. It says he must also comply with an ethics committee's recommendations, which include him completing recommended treatment and therapy before the committee will consider reinstating his duties. A Regina woman has been sentenced for an embezzlement investment scheme that dates back to 2006. Jacob Carr has more on the lengthy legal process that has now come to an end.
Alina Marie Pastuch's appeal for a trial by jury has been dismissed. Instead, the judge has sentenced her to 3 years and 6 months in prison. With 547 days of remand credit, Pastuch will spend 2 years serving time in a federal jail. She was previously convicted in 2019 and sentenced to 7 years after being charged in connection to an investment scheme starting in 2006 that operated for around 7 years. Pastuch represented herself in the case and a new trial was ordered in 2022 by the Provincial Court of Appeal. Fast forward to September 2024 when Pastuch entered another guilty plea, so there was no retrial. Last month, Pastuch's legal counsel requested a jury trial in an attempt to reopen sentencing, but that has been denied.
I'm hoping that the victims at this point will now, after over a decade, will get some closure in relation to the sentencing. Thankfully, the judge agreed with original counsel who made the sentencing submission along with myself as the Crown, and that now Ms. Pastuch will be held accountable for the theft of over $4.9 million.
Justice Catherine Dawson read several victim impact statements of those who were scammed into investing their money by Pastuch. Dawson declined to name the victims so as not to re-victimize them. One statement from a man who lost $55,000 said, "It may not seem like a great deal of money to some people, but to me it was significant. I've had many sleepless nights wondering and worrying where this money went." Another from a couple who lost $1.26 million. "We sold a farm. We had so many exciting plans for the next chapter of our lives. We plan to travel, help our children and grandchildren, do some charity work, and just enjoy the life we've worked hard for 35 years to establish." Dawson also issued a restitution order for Pastuch to pay back the over $4.9 million that she embezzled. The sentence will see Pastuch serve 730 days in a federal prison, and Pastuch has been ordered to surrender herself to Regina Police by Friday at noon. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
The Prairie Junior Hockey League is honoring one of its longtime members and former presidents tomorrow night. The Saskatoon Quakers and Saskatoon Wesleys will face off at Rodham Arena in honor of Bob Dybvig, who was a PJHL president and died this past summer. Dybvig spent more than 4 decades volunteering in multiple sports and organizations around Saskatoon as a coach or administrator. The league's North Division was renamed the Dybvig Division in 2016 to honor his contributions to the league. He was instrumental in combining the former North Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League with the South Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League to form what's now known as the Prairie Junior Hockey League. The game starts at 8 o'clock. The Husky Football Foundation has announced the special guest for the 24th annual Dogs Breakfast in April. Huskies head coach Scott Flory making the announcement today that all-star running back and Grey Cup winning coach Mike Pinball Clemens will be this year's speaker at the Dogs Breakfast, one of the largest football fundraisers in the country. The event raises money for scholarships and academic assistance for the University of Saskatchewan Huskies football team. Clemens is known for his personality both on and off the field, moving from the team to the front office of the Toronto Argonauts, where he's currently general manager. Flory says the event is about more than just raising money.
This is just the lifeblood of our program. We don't get good players, we don't win football games without giving scholarships to student athletes and getting them here in this city, in this province, into this amazing program, and this is a vital piece of that.
The 24th annual Dogs Breakfast goes April 30th in Saskatoon. Last week's wintry conditions left a Regina ringette team stranded in small-town Manitoba. But as Damien Smith reports, the community came together, opening their doors and offering support until the weather improved.
The Cooperation Center is the home for the U16 Regina Riot ringette team, but on Friday evening they had to find a new home.
It's a very small town. I'd never even heard of it before.
On the way to a tournament in Winnipeg, the team found themselves stranded in St. Claude, Manitoba, due to poor road visibility.
We were more just worried about the safety of the players and our bus and our families.
The town of just a little more than 600 people opened their community center for a 41-person sleepover.
Within 10 minutes, people from the community were bringing things like blankets, cots, air mattresses, pillows.
And my thought was kind of like, how are we going to feed all these people? Like, there's 41 people there, and like, we're kind of not prepared, right?
Luckily for the 7 board members of the community center, the hungry ringette players already had a pre-packed supper.
The looks on their face were just like total shock and surprise. And, you know, they were just so grateful for everything. At one point we walked in there and they were cheering and clapping for us.
This isn't the first time the town has opened up their center for a large group of people in need. The last time was in 2019, where citizens were left without hydro for a week.
It almost makes me emotional thinking about it. But I said to my partner when I got home, I said, you know, like doing stuff like this really like fuels my soul. Like that kind of stuff makes me so happy, being able to help people like that.
And as a goodbye, players left thank you notes for a community that became a second home. Damien Smith, CTV News, Regina.
Still to come, we are learning more about a Canadian killed in Australia. Also, the inflaming image that's getting a lot of attention. You're watching CTV News Live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. Prime Minister Mark Carney today addressing leaders at the World Economic Forum in Davos. Without mentioning the U.S. president, Carney also said the rules-based world order is fading and we must adapt. And as Annie Bergeron-Oliver reports, he reaffirmed Canada's support for Greenland.
Nestled in the usually calm mountains of the ski town Davos, a chaotic meeting of hundreds of politicians and top business leaders at the World Economic Forum that this year Prime Minister Mark Carney used to deliver a frank message about the future.
The old order is not coming back. We shouldn't mourn it. Nostalgia is not a strategy. But we believe that from the fracture we can build something bigger, better, stronger, more just.
Carney declared the U.S.-led world order dead and said countries must turn inward now that it's clear integration can lead to subordination.
Call it what it is, a system of intensifying great power rivalry where the most powerful pursue their interests using economic integration as coercion.
Withstanding those economic shocks, the Prime Minister said will require like-minded countries to pivot, to work together to hedge uncertainty. While Trump's name was never mentioned, Carney did call on middle powers like Canada to push back against domination by great powers, using tariffs as leverage and supply chains as vulnerabilities to be exploited.
In a world of great power rivalry, the countries in between have a choice. Compete with each other for favor, or to combine to create a third path with impact.
The message receiving what organizers described as a rare standing ovation at a summit where geopolitics and the future of Greenland is looming large.
Our commitment to NATO's Article 5 is unwavering. Canada strongly opposes tariffs over Greenland and calls for focused talks to achieve our shared objectives of security and prosperity in the Arctic.
Carney may get a chance to raise his concerns about Greenland directly to the U.S. president. While no meeting is currently scheduled between Carney and Donald Trump, the U.S. president will be here tomorrow at the same time as Mark Carney. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Davos, Switzerland.
Meanwhile, there was a lot of chatter today over an image Donald Trump shared this morning on Truth Social, which showed Canada and Greenland draped in the American flag. CTV's Mike Lecouture on yet another inflammatory provocation.
The original photo came from an August meeting between President Donald Trump and European leaders. It shows them in the Oval Office with a map of Ukraine and Russia in the background. A newly doctored version posted by Trump shows a different type of expansionism. The new map shows the stars and stripes painted over Greenland, Venezuela, and Canada.
He wants to be in control. He wants to manage. He wants to run the hemisphere and be a dictator.
Former Foreign Affairs Minister Lloyd Axworthy believes Canada needs to push back.
I think it's about time we showed a little sort of what the hell is going on, Mr. Trump? Would you stop this nonsense? Because if he's not confronted, then he will feel emboldened to go ahead.
Now, the Globe and Mail is reporting hypothetical responses to a U.S. military invasion are being modeled by the Canadian Armed Forces. However, the Foreign Affairs Minister would only speak broadly about national defense.
To always ensure that the defense and protection of our country is first and foremost on top of our list of priorities.
CTV News requested a comment from the Canadian Armed Forces, but we did not get one. Now, Trump has mused about taking over Canada for more than a year, but one of his former advisors downplayed the seriousness of that particular post.
But just in an interview that he did a few hours ago, he didn't say anything about the United States taking over Canada, and in fact referred to Canada's interest also in the Arctic. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that from the Canadian perspective.
Kellyanne Shaw says Trump is having a little fun with that post, but for many in Canada, it's serious. Mike Lecouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Police in Australia are searching for answers following the discovery of a body of a Canadian woman this week.
At this stage, it's too early to speculate on cause of death. We simply can't confirm whether this young lady drowned or died as a result of being attacked by dingoes.
19-year-old Piper James was from Campbell River, BC. Police in the Australian state of Queensland have declined to identify the victim, but say her body was found yesterday morning on a beach on Fraser Island. They say it was surrounded by a pack of about 10 wild dogs. James had been working on the island for the last 6 weeks and was traveling with a fellow Canadian. The result of a post-mortem is expected by tomorrow. Global Affairs Canada is providing consular assistance to her family. Former federal Justice Minister Jody Wilson-Raybould has announced she will be starting treatment for breast cancer. In a post on social media, she says the treatment comes following recent surgery. Raybould calls the situation scary and unsettling, but says she takes strength from the many people who have shared stories of resilience and healing with her over the years. Wilson-Raybould spent 3 years in former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's Liberal cabinet before she resigned and was re-elected to her Vancouver riding as an independent in 2019. Well, Jeff, that wind packed a little punch today.
It sure did. But the good news is, and it's not a lot of great news, but the good news is it wasn't bitterly cold in terms of the core temperature. So, yes, it felt cool. It was a little crisp out there. There's no question about it. But we are getting into much more crispy circumstances as we make our way into the next few days. It's going to be quite cold with a capital K. Let's take a look at our numbers. -9 in Saskatoon, some light flurries falling. This similar situation in Prince Albert with a temperature of -11 and -6 in the Battlefords. Not quite as breezy in Prince Albert as it is in Saskatoon and the Battlefords at the moment. As we take a look at our almanac, well, our current temperature is our 24-hour high temperature. That is -9 degrees. -12 is typical for this time of January. 4 degrees on the plus side. That is the record warm temperature on this date for January the 20th. A tie in 1968 and 1975. The cold temperature record, a very cold, -48, almost -50 in 1943. The sun came up at 9:04 and it went down at 5:33.
Coming up, a cultural experience, how Wanuskewin is offering education on hoop dancing.
Morning Saskatchewan, it's Bell Let's Talk Day. As Bell kicks off another campaign, we learn about this year's theme, Taking a Moment for Mental Health. It all starts at 6.
All right, welcome back. So we've got some light flurries. You can certainly see sort of obscuring things a little bit in terms of our view from the sky cam. For those of you scoring at home, I mentioned that -48 is almost -50. Well, -50 is the coldest temperature we've ever had in Saskatoon, and I believe that's from February the 3rd, 1893, but -50 is the nasty number that we achieved at one point. What an achievement! And look, I mentioned it earlier on. Right now, British Columbia doing not too badly on the other side, on the western side of the Rockies, but from the Rocky Mountains all the way out to Canada's east coast, this polar vortex is really hammering. And it's not just Canada. You know, it's certainly going to make things cold in many parts of the USA. So it's a pretty impactful situation in terms of our temperatures. And another impact is we have another Alberta clipper making its way through. That's what we're dealing with right now. Ultimately, that's going to be impacting parts of the Great Lakes region. So that could make problems, create some problems if you are traveling through Pearson Airport in Toronto. -9 degrees in Saskatoon, -11 in Prince Albert, -6 in the Battlefords. Just to recap our current temperatures. The hot spot today was -4 degrees. That was Maple Creek. The cold spot, Collins Bay at -31. Currently in Lloydminster area, it is -5 degrees, -8 in Swift Current, -12 in the Queen City, -15 in Yorkton, and -14 in Estevan. In central parts of the province, in the northern grain belt, temperatures ranging from -6 in a number of locations down to -15, and that is in Hudson Bay. Up north, well, not into the -30s or 20s yet in any kind of significant way. -20 right now in Collins Bay, but -18 in Stony Rapids. It warms up to -6, so not bad. Warmer than Saskatoon right now in Buffalo Narrows. And down south, -5 degrees in Leader and Maple Creek. And then as we make our way from the southern, southwestern part of the province and south central, then we get into the double-digit temperatures. Last Mountain Lake, Lake Regional Park, that is at -12 degrees, that area, and then -14 in Carlisle, -16 in Broadview, a couple of places at -15 degrees, including Indian Head. So there's that, the computer modeling indicating that system, that Alberta clipper clipping its way through Saskatchewan, and then by tomorrow morning it's gone, but in its wake we do have a lot of snow and blowing snow, so keep that in mind when it comes to checking the highway hotline tomorrow. -17 for La Ronge, -27 tomorrow for Stony Rapids, -18 in Buffalo Narrows, -23 for Key Lake. Temperatures of -16 in Meadow Lake and Spiritwood, -12 for Kindersley and Rosetown, -7 for Maple Creek, -9 in Leader, -13 in Outlook, a chance of flurries, and -11 in Speedy Creek. And wind will be the dominant feature in southeastern Saskatchewan. Temperatures in and around that -11 or 12 mark. And as you can see, like I said, the wind is going to be a big deal, and of course that'll make those temperatures feel all that much colder. Temperatures in and around that minus 14 degree mark for east central Saskatchewan. Making our way to the Battlefords, dropping down to minus 13 tonight, not really changing all that much. Chances of a risk of frostbite, 2 to 4 centimeters of snow in the overnight period, and then very cold conditions on Thursday and Friday and Saturday. Back into the minus teens, but still below seasonal on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Prince Albert's overnight temperature minus 17 degrees, not much of an improvement on Wednesday, a high of minus 15, and then into the minus 20s. In fact, minus 28 for highs on Thursday and Friday, minus 25 on Saturday, minus 18 on Sunday and Monday to start the work week, minus 17. Saskatoon, 2 to 4 centimeters of snow, so blowing snow, a risk of frostbite, winds out of the northwest 40, gusting to 60, and that lingers into tomorrow, a high of just minus 14 degrees. Minus 28 on Thursday and Friday, minus 24 on Saturday. A slight improvement, but still below seasonal on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
Welcome to Partners in Crisis. I'm your therapy animal, Dr. Fuzzbee. Greg, we talked
This is now Hollywood's highest-grossing animated movie ever. Zootopia 2 has taken in $1.7 billion U.S. at the global box office. That beats the record set by Inside Out 2 years ago. Note, this is strictly a Hollywood record. The highest-grossing animated film of all time is still China's Ne Sha 2, which took in $2.2 billion. And here's another note. Keep in mind the price of a movie ticket in 1937, when Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs came out, was around 25 cents. Just saying. David Letterman is bringing his comedic stylings to Just for Laughs Vancouver. The festival says the former late-night host's first time performing in Canada will be now, and that is since 1978. He's due to appear on stage for an evening with David Letterman and special guest Zach Galifianakis on February the 18th at the Queen Elizabeth Theatre. The 78-year-old comedian hosted Late Night from 1982 to 1993 and The Late Show on CBS from 1993 to 2015.
We see the light of a clear blue morning.
Dolly Parton is celebrating her 80th birthday, which was yesterday, with a gift for her fans. Parton released a new version of her 1977 single, Light of a Clear Blue Morning, on social media. It features fellow singers Lainey Wilson, Queen Latifah, Reba McEntire, her goddaughter, Miley Cyrus, along with big shot Canadian composer and producer David Foster on piano. Proceeds from the song will benefit pediatric cancer research at a children's hospital in Nashville.
All right, Jeff, time for Pick of the Day. What do you have for us?
Well, we have a triple hit, and let's just get right to them. This first one comes to us from Cynthia. Hello, Jeff. Wow, as the clouds rolled in, the more the sun looked like a starfish. Or it might be, you know, the eye of, I forget, from Lord of the Rings, but it looks kind of scary. But yes, a great shot there of a grid road and a sundog and some clouds. So thank you, Cynthia. Our next one comes from Monique. Now, Monique submitted this last week when the temperatures were much warmer. And Monique writes, these pine grosbeaks are enjoying the beautiful weather and having baths in the puddles. No puddles this week. And Vince sends us this one. Happy birthday to my loving wife and mother of two handsome young men from your loving husband. So happy birthday. Oh, you know what? We didn't get a name. I was going to say happy birthday. So happy birthday to the birthday girl. There we go. And if you'd like to send us an image, you can by sending it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca.
Still to come on CTV News, hoop dancing at Wanuskewin. We meet a man who is educating and inspiring with his talent.
Greetings, everyone. Hoop dancing is an indigenous tradition that uses dance to tell the stories of nature, share life lessons, and create an interconnectedness with all things. One hoop dancer from Saskatoon is sharing his knowledge and skills with those who visit the Wanuskewin Heritage Museum. CTV's Hallie Mandrick has more.
Lawrence Roy has been hoop dancing since he was 13 years old, and now he's sharing that passion with those who visit the Wanaskewin Heritage Museum.
I have 30 hoops that I dance with, and I come here and I dance for the people, and I give them information about what hoop dancing is, where it comes from, how it was originated, and everything.
It's part of the Wanaskewin Dance and Music Presentations, drop-in programming which offers visitors an opportunity to learn more about Indigenous art forms. Roy's hoop dancing came along with teachings of how his art form is reflective of many things that can be found in nature.
He's telling us at the start, like, oh, you'll see the butterfly, then it'll be a snake, then it'll be a butterfly again, then a bird, eagle, and I was like, yeah, okay, cool. And then sure enough, with the hoops, you see it all. It was really neat. It really gave you a lot of images and a lot to think about.
Roy also gave visitors an opportunity to try their hand at hoop dancing. The dancer says crowds are typically a little hesitant at first. However, a little encouragement goes a long way.
Because they can't really think they can do it, but they can. So I give them the courage and empowerment to know that they can do something that's as difficult as hoop dancing.
Okay, we're going to the left again, because we're a universe. Yeah, true. We're only 4, but yeah. We're strong!
It was harder than I thought. When he was doing it, I was like, wow, it looks like he's pretty good at it, but it can't be that hard. And then when I was doing it, sure enough, it was really cool. Really hard, though. It takes a lot of patience.
For Indigenous Circle, I'm Hallie Mandrick.
If you have a story you would like to see in this segment, here's how to reach us. You can contact me by email, and you can also watch past episodes and segments of Indigenous Circle on our CTV Regina and CTV Saskatoon websites.
Indigenous Circle, brought to you in part by Saskatchewan Indigenous Enterprise Foundation, growing the First Nation entrepreneurial spirit.
When we come back, the latest from the Riders on who is returning next season. And later, the Manitoba man who hopes to be the best in the bidding business.
All right, welcome back. Time to take a look at our rural forecast for tomorrow. And, you know, things don't look super bad. But they are going to be getting colder. Lloydminster -12, -11 degrees. But those are mid-afternoon. We do expect the temperatures to be dropping substantially or relatively quickly as we make our way into the evening hours. But that's how things are setting up for tomorrow. But even just by the time we get to Meadow Lake, -16. The same for Spiritwood, -13 in Outlook. Watrous, windy, and -13, -15 in Melfort and Hudson Bay. And then we make our way into southern Saskatchewan. Still looks pretty reasonable around Leader and Maple Creek, basically around -8 degrees. But as we migrate towards the eastern side of the province, temperatures drop into the minus double digits. And these temperatures are still pretty seasonal by January standards. And that certainly includes Leader. Look at that. I mentioned it earlier on. Not too bad. -9 degrees. But look at that wind. Northwesterly winds at 30, gusting to 50. And strong winds are going to be the situation throughout the province tomorrow. But just a reminder that Leader is one of the places where internet plans of 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
The Riders continued their signing surge today, inking a Canadian defensive end to a 1-year extension.
Deep drop from Crom! Down he goes!
Last season, Lake Courtney Moore only played 7 games, tearing his ACL in August. Drafted 3rd overall by the Riders in the 2023 CFL draft, Courtney Moore has 29 defensive tackles and 2 sacks. Meanwhile, Kian Schaefer-Baker is looking forward to returning to the Riders after signing a 2-year contract extension with the team.
Harris looks to his right, throws in that direction, laying out for it on the near sideline. Schaefer-Baker, welcome back.
2025 was a trying season for the 5th-year receiver out of Guelph. Schaefer-Baker got hurt in the Riders' first game of the season. He says the rehab process has made him a better player and a better person as a result.
The pain that you go through ultimately turns into power one day, and I feel like everything you go through in life happens for a reason, you know. Sometimes you might not understand it or know what's going on, but that's not for us to understand. The biggest thing in this locker room is the continuity and how we mesh together, and what we had last year was so special, but that's in the past. Last year was a crazy stepping stone for us. And now, when you're at the top of one mountain, you're at the bottom of another.
Schaefer Baker returned from the injury for the final 4 games of the regular season, where he had 177 yards on 15 catches and then had 27 yards on 3 catches in Saskatchewan's 112th Grey Cup win. The Scotties Tournament of Hearts begins Friday in Mississauga, and Saskatchewan's Team Campbell is ready to wear the green.
It's on the guard. It's going to tick and roll off. And Jolene Campbell will not have to throw her last rock, and she is your 2026 Saskatchewan provincial champion.
Saskatchewan has not won a Scotties championship since 2011, when Jolene Campbell was an alternate for Amber Holland. Campbell says there are similarities between that team and the one headed to the Scotties this year.
On this team, like Robin and I and Rachel have all been there before, so we kind of have that in common with them. We know what to expect. Really, we'll just enjoy it, I think, the same way they did. That's really how that team approached it. It was just, you know, they were really united and they just really enjoyed being out there together. They really supported one another, and so I think we do things pretty similar that way.
Saskatchewan opens their tournament Saturday evening against Nova Scotia. The North American stock market sank as world leaders met in Switzerland under the dark cloud of threats made by the U.S. president. Morella Fernandez reports.
The American markets were closed on Monday, so this is the first chance investors have had to respond to the rhetoric. And clearly, they were shaken, continuing to sell America, sending the market nosediving. Both the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ dropped over 2%. And the threats to Greenland sent spot gold to a new record high, above $4,700 an ounce. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up to 72.29. West Texas Intermediate up over $1 to 60.36. Western Canadian Select unchanged at 45.16. And the TSX lost 340 points to slip back under 33,000. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
Turning to local gas prices now, the average price in Saskatoon currently at $1.22 a litre. The lowest price in town, $1.149. On Saskatchewan markets, Cameco dropped $2.85, and Nutrien finished the day at $92.99. Coming up, the stunning light show in the sky. Then up for auction, the Manitoba auctioneer hoping to be in the top 10.
Select Hair Services brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
We've got another great night of entertainment coming up right here tonight at 7, starting with Will Trent.
And then High Potential, a couple of back-to-back winners right there.
It's a jam-packed night.
Yep.
Well, we want to show you some stunning images of the Northern Lights, which we're seeing in many parts of the world. The light display could be seen across the country and as far away as Germany and even in China. The dazzling sky was caused by a strong geomagnetic storm. The bright, colorful lights created a picturesque scene for the people lucky enough to see these images. I didn't see too many posts about it.
No, well, our skies were pretty obscured because those clouds were rolling in, and of course those same clouds brought us some snow.
Yes, this is true. But we're happy to see these images.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Gorgeous stuff. You bet.
All right. Well, a Manitoba livestock auctioneer is making a bid to become a world champion.
Pounds. Here we go. All right. Let's have a sale. How much here?
36-year-old Brennan Jack is usually selling cattle, but he'll be selling himself in June at the World Livestock Auctioneer Championships in South Dakota. This will be the Verdun, Manitoba native's 11th consecutive trip to the competition, a regular top 10 finisher. He hopes this year will be his year, and he claims the world title. So,
well, let's hope so. Good luck.
Yeah, you keep trying, right?
Absolutely.
It's a lot of practice. It's a hard skill.
It is a hard skill. You bet. We've got some hard temperatures coming our way because it's going to be hard to keep warm. But tomorrow's going to be not bad. We've got ourselves temperatures tomorrow, minus 17 in the morning, mid-afternoon around minus 14 degrees. So that's still below seasonal, but the really cold temperatures are showing up the day after tomorrow. And look at those wind speeds. Consistently windy throughout the day. Wind gusts up around 60 clicks. So, ouch.
Yes. Stay inside if you can and just be safe. All right. Thanks for watching.